Some people travel to escape. Others travel to plan. When Emily boarded her flight to Kenya, she carried a journal, 3 novels, and a quiet belief that somewhere in the world, magic was waiting for her. When David boarded that very same flight, he carried a detailed itinerary, vaccination records neatly organized in a labeled folder, emergency contacts printed twice, and a carefully calculated spreadsheet of projected expenses. Emily was a romantic. David was pragmatic. Neither of them knew that Kenya, with its golden savannas, coastal sunsets, and wide, untamed horizons, was about to test everything they believed about love. They met beneath the bright lights of the arrivals hall at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi. Emily's suitcase didn't arrive. She stood by the carousel, half laughing, half panicking, watching identical bags circle past without hers. "This is fate," she told the airline staff with a dramatic sigh. "Maybe I'm meant to buy everything new." Behind her, David muttered, gently. "Or maybe it's a logistics error." She turned, he offered an apologetic smile. Within minutes, he was helping her file the missing baggage report, calmly explaining typical recovery timelines, even offering a spare phone charger from his carry-on. She thanked him and said, "See, Kenya already brought me something good." He replied, "It brought you someone organized. It wasn't fireworks, it was contrast." By coincidence or destiny, as Emily would insist, they discovered they were both booked on the same safari to the Maasai Mara. On the first morning drive, the world felt dipped in gold. The sun rose slowly over endless grasslands. A herd of elephants crossed quietly in front of their jeep. Emily whispered, "This is unreal." David adjusted his camera lens. "It's migration season. High probability of sightings." She laughed. "Do you calculate everything?" "Mostly." But when a lion emerged just meters away, silent, powerful, undeniable, even David forgot probability. Even he felt awe without analysis. That evening, under a sky scattered with impossible stars, they talked. Emily spoke about love like it was an adventure, wild, unpredictable, something you leap into. David spoke about love like it was a partnership, stable, intentional, built carefully over time. "Love should feel wild," she said softly. "Love should feel stable," he replied. Their Maasai guide smiled from across the fire. Perhaps he understood something. They were only beginning to learn that in nature, survival depends on both instinct and structure. Midweek, they visited a local Maasai village. Children ran barefoot across red earth. Women sang in harmonies that seemed to vibrate in the air. Elders spoke of cattle, family, tradition. Emily knelt in the dust, laughing as children braided colorful beads into her hair. David stood beside an elder, asking thoughtful questions about community roles and shared responsibilities. Later, inside the warm dimness of a family hut, something shifted. Emily watched a mother feed her child before feeding herself. David noticed how every role in the family had purpose. Who gathered, who built, who protected. "This," Emily whispered, "is love." "Yes," David said quietly. "And it works because everyone knows their responsibility." For the first time, they weren't opposing forces. They were standing on the same truth, just viewing it from different angles. Love is both feeling and function. After the safari, their paths crossed again in Mombasa. They walked along white sand beaches, while the Indian Ocean shimmered in molten gold. At Fort Jesus, they traced their fingers along centuries-old stone walls, built to withstand invasion. "Even romance needs fortification," David joked. She nudged him, "You're learning." Then came the storm. A sudden coastal squall rolled in. Wind howled. Rain lashed sideways. The power failed in their small beachfront hotel. Emily felt fear curl in her chest. David stayed calm, checked the doors, found flashlights, confirmed emergency procedures. In the candlelit dark, she realized something. His practicality made her feel safe. And as lightning fractured the sky beyond the window, he realized something too. Her presence made even chaos feel meaningful. On their final days, conflict finally surfaced. Emily confessed she was thinking of quitting her corporate job to travel long-term, without savings. David asked carefully, without a plan. "I don't want to live safely forever," she said. "I want stories, and I don't want unnecessary struggle," he replied. "I want security, romantic versus pragmatic, heart versus blueprint." It felt like an ending before it had truly begun. The next morning, she walked alone along the shoreline. He sat inside, thinking about the lion, about awe he couldn't measure. When she returned, she said, "What if I plan it? Save for a year. Build freelance income first." He looked up. "What if I stop treating every risk like danger? What if I join you for part of it?" In that moment, love grew, not because they agreed, but because they adapted. Back at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, where they had first met, everything felt different. Her luggage was intact this time, but something else felt fragile. "Was this just a travel romance?" she asked. David shook his head. "Travel reveals who people are under uncertainty." She waited. "And I don't want probability," he said softly. "I want possibility with you." It wasn't cinematic. No running through terminals. No swelling soundtrack like in The Notebook. Just two people choosing each other with both heart and thought. After Kenya, reality returned quickly. Emily went back to London. David returned to Toronto. Sunsets became time zones. Beach walks became video calls. At first, distance felt romantic. She mailed him a pressed flower from a London park. He emailed her a shared savings tracker, titled Kenya 2.0 Plan. She teased him. He told her, love without a plan was just nostalgia. Months passed, missed calls, quiet disappointments. "Long distance isn't sustainable forever," he said one night. "I don't want us to become practical strangers," she replied. They were no longer tourists. Now they were architects. 6 months later, Emily visited Toronto in winter. Snow replaced sand. The wind bit harder than any coastal breeze. She met his parents. His mother hugged her warmly. His father asked careful, grounded questions about long-term plans. For the first time, she didn't resist the idea of structure. In spring, David visited London. Her family was loud, expressive, spontaneous. Her father toasted dramatically. "To love that crosses oceans." Her younger sister later asked him, "Do you love her wildly?" David paused. "I love her intentionally." It wasn't flashy, but it was true. A year after Kenya, Emily quit her job. Not recklessly this time. She had savings, clients, a 6-month runway. When a major client backed out 2 months later, panic returned. "I was stupid," she said. "No," David replied calmly. "We accounted for risk. Now we adjust." They restructured, adapted, cut expenses, expanded services. The crisis didn't break them. It bonded them. Romantic courage met pragmatic strategy. 2 years after they first met, they returned to the Maasai Mara. The same golden horizon stretched before them. But they were no longer the same people. As the sun dipped low, David reached into his jacket. Not impulsively. Not dramatically. Intentionally. "I don't believe in destiny," he said softly. "But I believe in decisions." He knelt. 2 years ago, Kenya gave me probability. The numbers were good. She laughed through tears. But then it gave me something I couldn't quantify. "And that's you." He held out the ring. "Will you build a life with me? Not fall into forever. Not meant to be. Build." "Yes," she whispered. Not because it was fate, but because it was chosen. They married a year later on the Kenyan coast, near turquoise water that once witnessed their storm. Her father spoke of love as adventure. His father spoke of love as commitment. And somewhere between those two definitions, their truth lived. Their story was never perfect. They argued about finances, debated cities, faced career shifts and unexpected loss. But they learned the rhythm. When fear rose, pragmatism steadied them. When routine dulled life, romance revived them. Kenya had taught them something powerful. Wild landscapes survive through balance. Rain and drought, predator and prey, freedom and instinct. Love is no different. It needs the dreamer. It needs the planner. The one who says, let's go. And the one who says, here's how. Two travelers arrived carrying different philosophies. They left carrying something better, a shared one. And somewhere between spreadsheets and sunsets, between responsibility and risk, they built a love story that wasn't just magical, but sustainable.